I always end up getting distracted by the mountain itself. 1/125th of a second, a 25-second exposure. 1/20th of a second, a 1 minute and 50-second exposure. Hi, thank you for joining me. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back and thank you very much. I appreciate your continued support. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy this video, which I hope you do, then please consider hitting the subscribe button and checking out more of my work. Sometimes life gets in the way of landscape photography. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And this week has been one of those weeks. Various things have been going on which have meant I haven't been able to get out and about. You know, other things that I've had to do, as I said, life. Add to that the fact that I had some significant problems with my tripod and I've had to buy a new one. And if you're wondering about those problems and what tripod I've bought, that was in my last video. I'll put a link to it up there if you haven't seen it yet. And it's really been difficult for me to get out. And today actually is no exception. Today, sunset is at 8:30, but I've got to be home by about 6:30. So I can't stay out until sunset. In fact, I can't stay out anywhere near because not only have I got to be home by 6:30, but I've got to finish shooting, get back to the car and drive home. So probably my latest time to shoot an image is going to be around 5:15, 5:30. So definitely not in the traditional golden hour. But today, to be honest, it doesn't matter, because despite what the weather forecast said, we have got thick cloud. So there's no light anyway, and there's not going to be any, because over to the west, which you can't see but is over that way, it is absolutely thick solid cloud. But that wasn't what I was expecting when I came out. The weather forecast was saying there was going to be broken cloud, and I thought we might get some light. So what I decided to do was come up into the woodland on the side of the mountain and see if there were some shots that I could get, maybe as the sun got a bit lower, but obviously wouldn't be massively low, but by about 25 past 4 the sun will be at what, 45 degrees thereabouts, so low enough to give some directional light. And I thought, wandering around the woodlands, I might be able to find some, you know, patches of light and shadow that would enable me to make a composition. But with the flat light, it's really not working, because these woodlands, you know, they're not the most atmospheric. They're not. They've not got the diversity of trees. It's all, you know, basically pine trees. And just to even complicate things even more, because it's on the slope of a mountain, all of the trees actually lean. So you can see behind me, all of the trees are leaning over. So it's actually difficult to come up with a nice composition anyway. And I've been wandering around in this part of the woodland now for about half an hour, maybe 35 minutes. And I just haven't found anything that I want to shoot in this kind of light. I'm not giving up yet, but I'm going to move on to another section of woodland now and see if I can find something there. As always happens though, when I come onto this mountain, when I come to shoot woodland, I always end up getting distracted by the mountain itself. And because we've got this thick cloud, that means that there's some potential to do some shots that probably wouldn't work this early in the day with you know, clear skies or with brighter light. And in fact, I got distracted on the way up to this bit of woodland, and I ended up stopping and shooting an image. So on the basis that that might be the only image I get here this afternoon, let's go back and have a quick look at that, shall we? Okay, so we've got a shot here. I've got set up. Basically all it is, we've got this lovely trail that winds down. It's quite a nice S-curve, leads down to the base of this peak here. I'm shooting this portrait orientation, so vertical format. 16 to 35 lens at 16mm. F11 1/125th of a second. And I can just about get it all in one exposure, but it will need the shadows boosting in post. But the histogram looks good and the clouds look really nice. So mostly because I'm actually testing out the new tripod, I've just decided I'm going to do a long exposure of this scene. I've put in the 10-stop filter, and that's giving me a 25-second exposure, so I'm going to give that a go. Okay, so hopefully that's one image in the bag. Not what I came to get, but it might work as a, you know, kind of an atmospheric kind of shot. But for now, I'm going to pack up here and head to another section of woodland a little bit further along the mountain and see if I can find a composition. I'll catch up with you when I get there. Still absolutely no luck with the woodland, but who can resist a scene like this? The trail leading down, the mountain in the background and all those clouds over the top. I've set up horizontal format, 16 to 35 lens at about 20mm. I've got a 2-stop soft edged ND grad on just to hold the brightness back in the sky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one shot at a 1/6 of a second to give me a good exposure for the foreground. And then I'm going to do another shot exposed for the sky. Okay, so I shot one image at a 1/6 of a second, gave me a nicely exposed foreground, but blew out the highlights in the sky even with the 2-stop soft edged ND grad in, and I don't have a stronger soft edge. Another shot at 1/20th of a second, which kept the sky looking pretty much okay, but the foreground's a bit dark, probably recoverable. But now I've put in the 10-stop ND filter, and I'm doing a 1-minute and 50-second exposure to see if that works out. So I'm not entirely sure that the very long exposure, 1 minute 50 seconds, has actually worked out all that well, because it looks like it's taken all of the texture out of the sky. Okay, so I'm afraid that's it, time's up, and I need to start heading back to the car. I have left myself a little bit of a breathing space in case I spot something on the way back that I want to stop and shoot, but I don't think it's very likely. I've been in 2 different areas of woodland with no success, but hopefully I've taken a couple of mountain shots, which is not what I planned to do, but we'll see how those come out. And at least I've given the new tripod a quick try out, and so far it seems promising. I'm not going to do a whole piece about that tripod because I said I'll do a proper review in a few weeks' time when I've had a chance to put it through its paces in a variety of different conditions. As for today, the weather's turning quite nasty. Over there, the clouds are getting really thick. The wind's getting up. It was already a bit breezy, and it's now getting a bit stronger, and there's that sort of damp sensation in the air, so I think it might rain. And whilst there are times that I don't mind staying out in the rain, today isn't one of them because I just don't think it's worth it. This isn't a location to shoot in the rain. And you always have to be careful here when it rains if you're out on these tracks, because it can turn nasty with the mud. You can end up with very slippery conditions. You can get mudslides off the mountain if it rains hard. So I'm going to start heading back, and that will probably be it unless I spot something on the way. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And a quick reminder, if you have enjoyed it and you're new here, then please consider hitting subscribe. Likes and shares are always very much appreciated. They do help to promote the channel, and I love to hear from you. So comments down below. And oh, the wind is now definitely getting up, it's almost blowing me over. I'll take that opportunity to sign off and just say I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Thank you very much, and until the next video, bye.